Hi guys, happy Sunday. It is Sunday, October 13th. Just got to the gym. It is 8:45, and by just getting to the gym, I did not. I got here about 2 hours ago, but we have a friendly competitive challenge going on at our gym on November 9th. It's a team of three rowing workout challenge with some other workouts sprinkled in every hour. So I just filmed a little promo for that. So was just thinking, I was like, you know what? I kind of lost my YouTube consistency, and I knew that was going to happen, and it's totally okay because at the end of the day, my YouTube channel is to help me be disciplined on my workouts, be true to the training, and be true to not being um, like a procrastinator. And that being said, October is the busiest month of the year for me anyway. As I said, I work multiple jobs. I've got a cross-country coaching position, and then I'm a race director for two local 5Ks, both of them fairly on the large side, one of them being October 26th. So this time of the year is busy, busy, busy. And also, that being said, I seem to just be getting a new client like every week. So I've just been super busy in the gym, and then when I'm not training, I have something going on. Like when I said, when I first started this channel, kind of like back in like the end of like middle end of summer, I wasn't really quite in the fall yet, where like I said, where I'm busy. So I was just seeing so many days where I had hours where I was just like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Like I don't have a client for 2-3 hours. So this is where this channel started. So it's okay, me telling myself, I'm like, hey, not every day has to be a YouTube video. I'm not really there yet with my channel anyway. So if you're watching, I appreciate it. If you missed a week, like that makes me feel even better that you maybe were waiting for me to post something. But there's only 35 subscribers anyway, so it's okay if I take a couple weeks off here and there. So that being said, I was having multiple conversations around this time of year, like I always do, with people that want to talk about like sobriety. So I thought maybe I would take you through what's going to be a very low heart rate workout for me. I'm just going to finish the back end of like my long run. I did run a race this morning. It went super well. I ran a 4K. I won, but Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday were very, very high intensity days for my heart rate. So making sure that I avoid doing too much of that is always going to be important to me. Even though I am in that phase right now, like I said, I'm literally a month today from Hyrox, Chicago. So I am going to be in an intensity block, but it can't be every day, all day. So I spent 15 good minutes in zone 5 heart rate today in that 4K race, as I ran like 14:15, I think, like 5:49, 5:50 average. Yeah, but I got the W this morning. It was awesome. But Wednesday and Thursday were both 30 plus minutes of like zone 4, zone 5 heart rate. So I'm just going to do some miles on the treadmill, and every mile probably just jumping off and transitioning between lunges and farmer's carry, as neither of those movements I'm going to go very fast on anyway, but I just figured it'd just be some good volume to get in to finish off my week. And during this workout, I'm just going to kind of talk about like kind of how I got here. How did I get to this? How did I transition from this like bartending, depressed, alcoholic world that I lived in for a very long time, to now just kind of just building these blocks of endurance and fitness and education and new opportunities, all kind of within this like world of running and health and enjoying life. And I also kind of want to talk about like, what do I think of myself, and like how have I changed as a person? Like I know I've impacted people in the area. I know I've created a new opportunity for myself, and like there's light at the end of the tunnel now. But where am I at mentally as how I look at myself? As I think that's something that no matter what changes you make, at the end of the day, people are just so hard on themselves. So I'm going to get set up and just kind of talk about like the steps that I had to make and the sacrifices that I had to make to kind of make the leap that kind of got me to being this person that's at a gym every Sunday night at 9 o'clock. Okay. How do we start this? So I'm 36. I'll be 37 in December. Um, I quit drinking when I quit drinking on February 12th, 2021. And there's such a story behind that day, as I wasn't someone that like, oh, I went to rehab and I came out with I came out with the 7 steps of something like, or I don't know. I didn't go to rehab. Um, I kind of went backwards, I guess I would say. Like, I went backwards and I went to like rock bottom. I mean, everyone has their definition of rock bottom. And I would say the months leading up to February 12th, 2021, I hope are the worst it ever gets for me, if it ever gets bad again. So that being said, um, rewind earlier. I mean, like I said, I quit bartending when I was about 33, and from the age of 20 to 33, that was my full-time job. And it's crazy how I could use bartending and how I viewed it at 21, at 24, at 27, at 31, and how I can use that as an example as how it's never too late to do something, or it's never too late to make a change, as my view on that career changed so drastically, and how much of it was my own fault, how much of it was other people's fault, how much of it was I set up for success? Was I setting myself up for failure? And sometimes I think, like, did I just care too much? Did I care too much about an industry that didn't care about me? Um, and that's another topic that I'll go over, as far as like when people ask me like what happens when you quit drinking? Like what sacrifices have to you make, and what things you just have to live with? And one of them being, um, no one's going to follow you. If you feel like if you're someone like me and you feel like I don't, I never said that I was addicted to drinking. I never woke up like craving alcohol. I just surrounded myself with it. So on days that I didn't feel like drinking, I was surrounded by people that were going to drink. And I played just as much of a role on days that I felt like drinking, hanging around people that didn't want to drink. I'm like, oh, come on, I'll buy. And like we were just one big circle, and the circle's always spinning. The ride never stops. It's just, how badly do you want to get off? And for years, I would say for at least 2 years, I wanted to get off so bad. And so when I talk to people that come into my gym that have similar drinking backgrounds or some sort of addiction background, I'm like, dude, you don't have to live here forever, because one thing that I used to love, and that was partying. I used to love going. I used to bartend 7 nights a week. I would pick up the shifts that I knew I was going to make no money on, just for the sake of getting out, being in front of people. And you fast forward 10 years, I wouldn't pick up any shifts. I wouldn't pick up shifts that I knew I would make $300-400 on, for the sake of just like, I'm burnt out. If I bartend 3 nights a week, I'm burnt out. And like every single night, come like 11 p.m., the social switch in my brain would just turn off, and I just could not wait for everybody to get out of the bar and just get away from me. Don't talk to me. I realized I had a problem when, not just a drinking problem, but just like burnt out on people. When I started seeing people out in public that I hadn't seen in years, and I rewind to when I first met those people and how badly I wanted to be around those people and I wanted to be friends with those people. And those people never did anything wrong to me. I just was so burnt out on people. I was like, dude, I really don't want to play catch up. I really don't want to talk to this person for 8 minutes. Like, that's just not good. That's not where I want to be in my mindset, where I see someone that I haven't seen for 4 or 5 years, and all I'm thinking of is like, how can I avoid this conversation? And like, that's the definition of burnout. And that's just the definition of customer service. And I think that's how I kind of want the whole topic of this video is like, what do I think about me? I've never really put a lot of work into me in those years, where all I cared about was give. And I think anyone that works in any sort of customer service area, you eventually lose focus on yourself, and you all you care about is the image that you portray, to make sure that it's the model that your consumer wants it to be. And when you work in the bar industry, especially like I've worked in restaurants where it's like I could be the best server for a couple that's 90 years old, for a 21st bachelorette party, for a 50-year birthday, for an anniversary. Like I got so good at mastering that. But at the end of the day, when I would lay in my bed, I'm like, I don't even know who I am anymore. Like, I don't even know what do I want to do? What am I doing with my life? And now, fast forward into 3.5 years of sobriety, and I'm racing, and I've had some good years, and I've had some bad years, and I started building more expectations onto myself. I jokingly made a comment to the race director that patted me on the back, is like, hey man, go get the W today. Like he was really supporting me. And I was just kind of made a joke. I'm like, man, do I even enjoy doing this anymore? Like it's 9 a.m. It's cold. Like I know in a few minutes I'm going to be sitting in a heart rate that is like ungodly high. I'm like, is this the alternative that I wanted? And I came through that finish line, and I won the race today. And I was like, win or lose, man, like you're doing things at 37 that you never would have even thought about doing at 26. So that's a 10-year gap. I talk about how I used to be obsessed with bartending. I thought it was the best thing in the world. Fast forward 10 years, it fucking sucked the life out of me. But fast forward another 3.5, and I'm in here on a Sunday night doing a workout by myself, filming a video, talking with you guys, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be. All right, so bear with me, as obviously none of this is scripted. It's just kind of coming out of my mind. Honestly, I should probably film things like this that are more like a therapeutic conversation, or like some advice for anyone that is in the mindset of wanting to quit drinking. Usually the first question or first piece of advice is, one, it's either be blatantly honest with yourself and the people around you that you don't want around you, or you want them to maybe know. You want them to know. Because there's one thing that happened with bartending was like everyone loves you. It sucks. It's really hard to label people as you're a bad influence on me, because I know how much you enjoy me here. Like I said, I removed myself from there. I don't hear from a lot of those people anymore. So you need to get a good grasp on who's important and who's not, and just be honest with those people. Be blatantly honest with yourself. You need to accept where you're at in this current position. Like I said, I feel like I have just climbed this massive mountain here in my gym. But when I first walked into these doors, the guy that owned the gym at that time, who's still a coach here, who's one of my best friends, he knew where I was at, and he knew who I used to be. He knew I used to be a good athlete. He knew that I was a good snowboarder, that I could skateboard, that he knew that where I was going with the alcohol, even on just a social end, was bad. And I walked in here and I was like, hey man, I got two choices. I either lock myself in this gym and you just fuck my life up, or I go to rehab. And because I had quit my job. I had made the one move. I quit. And it was bad. And my hat off to both my bosses, as one job was not necessarily bartending, but it was in the bar industry. It was servicing the bars with like entertainment and stuff like that. And the other one was just bartending. Both of those guys, mad respect. Those guys completely understood. And for the next year, they were both there to help me if I needed anything. So there was no bad feelings there. That really, really, really made things easy for me to transition. But yeah, just be honest with yourself, and be honest with the people that you either want to get out or in your life. And for me, it was Coach Seth here, and he was like, let's rock and roll, dude. Fuck rehab. You don't need that. You can bang in here. And I was on the scaled side of our burn class, which our burn class here is kind of more of like a full body, just a little bit more of a introductional side of fitness. I mean, there's definitely some plenty of hard days, but like I'd be gassed after like 10 minutes, and I just kept going. I started running a few miles, and I really wanted to use running as like my outlet. I'm like, no, I know no matter what, I'm probably the best runner in this gym. And I wanted to use that as like my outlet on days where the gym might be really hard, but I wanted to eventually start blending the two together. So besides the point, that's irrelevant. And another one is just time. If you are trying to get away from something, you have to realize you're trying to get rid of that. So if you're someone that goes to a bar 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, I mean, you have to replace those hours with something. So what I tell people is you don't ever, I would never recommend doing it the way that I did it. I just went straight cold turkey. I was like, nope, day one, done, never again. I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that to people unless you really feel you have something to replace the time. Whether it's learning an instrument, whether it's going back to school, whether it's just spending more time with your kids. I mean, usually when you get to where I'm at, something happened or something is happening that gave you a fucking wake-up call. And for me, it was a mixture of things, internally and externally, to where I was just like, yeah, I'm over it. I'm done. Let's do this. And I've never looked back. And I don't think I ever will. So anyway, time. And if you're going to make this transition, I highly recommend baby steps. And what I mean by baby steps is like avoiding things like no drinking November or sober October or dry January. Like avoid those things. By all costs, avoid those things, because what happens with someone that is a consistent drinker, or you're trying to just quit other things, is you're only going to label the days, or you're only going to think about the days that you maybe slipped. And if you're someone that drinks 20 out of 30 days, in the month of October, you drank 5. I mean, look at that massive improvement, and you can build off that. That's kind of another where this video is going, is like giving yourself credit, acknowledging where you're at, give yourself the credit you deserve, and build off of that. And eventually down the road, you might start seeing like, all right, my friends that know I'm trying, like, are starting to leave me alone. Like, they used to poke. They don't poke anymore, because now I went 15 days, and I went 20 days this month, and I went 25 days. Now you're starting to see the results of quitting alcohol, which are usually delayed from what my experience was 2 to 3 months. After 3 months of me quitting drinking, I looked like a total different person. I carried a lot of alcohol and swelling in my face, had a little bit of a gut on me, just carried it a lot up here. So just 30 days after that, I just felt like a different person. So really find something to replace that time, because if you don't, you're going to live in here, and all you're going to do is kind of live in this like world of FOMO. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be in a place where I got to the point to where my apartment was here, my gym was here, the bar I worked at was here. I spent years making that right. I wanted to start making that left. You had to make time. You had to make the willpower to start going left when you usually go right. And it was so much easier by being honest. Like, there's a very good chance that when you open up about having a problem, the people that you're going to open up to can relate. And I think that's one thing that people get afraid about, is like, I don't want to be this like sore thumb in the room. Like, I can promise you, man, I spend hours a week around people that are running marathons, 100-milers, triathlons. They're insane CrossFitters. All of them have some sort of story that got so bad that got them here. All right. I had to get this workout started. It's like 9:30, and I hadn't really done much yet. But so yeah, so for those of you here, like for like the fitness side of it, I guess, like, I'm just gonna do 4 rounds, 1 mile run, and then like 200-meter farmer's carry, and then probably 30 alternating back rack lunges with that 95-pound bar there. I'm just trying to go slow tonight. I'm trying to go slow. I'm just literally just doing work for the sake of like getting the last few miles done of my long run. And if you're someone who wants to get into hybrid racing, you can always mix your runs up. So even though it is nice to get some runs in that are 10, 12 miles that are just nonstop, some days as a dad, I don't have that option. So sometimes I'll bring Reagan here, and I'll just jump on the treadmill, and I'll get off like every 2K and do something else. So you're just kind of getting used to being like a little bit more dynamic. But anyway, kind of the title of this video is going to be like how do I view myself? How do I view myself now? I mean, I get so many compliments from people in my area that are just like, "Hey, man, like, I love seeing what you're doing. You're inspiring. You're influential, and I appreciate it so much." Um, but I've always just been so just down on myself, like never just been like happy with what I have, and never enjoying the moment. And I've kind of gained a little bit of like a social media addiction in the world of like comparison, and I don't enjoy that. And uh, I can find myself doing things just as bad sober as I did drunk, and honestly, that's okay. Like, I removed a very big toxic area from my life, or however you want to label it. Like, that doesn't mean life is just going to be like everything you ever asked for. Like, the one thing I'll tell you is that when I was about 9 months into being sober, I got certified to be a personal trainer. And I kind of looked at it as like, okay, my life is just going to be awesome now. Like, I'm going to have all these clients, and I'm going to be my own boss, and I'm going to make all this money. And like, that just wasn't the fucking case. So, and I will say, years of bartending, you do kind of become your own boss bartending. Like, depending on like where you work at. Like, I work just for like local sports bars and stuff like that. Like my bosses were great people. They usually just were like, they either weren't there or they were there partying with you. So like, when you are behind the bar, I've always said, like, even when I manage bars, like, I always told my employees, like, when you're behind the bar, you're in charge. So you develop this ego of like, I'm the most powerful person in the room. And I don't care how much money you have, how highly educated you are. If it's your fucking birthday, like, if you're in my bar, I'm in charge. And that was something that was very hard to bury when I moved on to like, okay, I'm leaving this, and I've got to start all over. But I was also relying on that to build me a clientele in here. So I couldn't just be like a fuck everybody, I'm out. Like, I still needed my community, because there were a lot of people that were looking at me as like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And 3.5 years down the road, I still look at like, I was gonna say, like, I still 3.5 years down the road, like, I still want that to be my kind of like my calling card. It's like, I've been down there and I've been up here, but no matter what, it's all in here. So even though I removed the alcohol, I removed the late nights and the toxicity, like, there's still plenty of negativity up here. And I wish I had more money. I wish I owned. I wish I didn't rent. I wish I owned. I wish I didn't rent. And I wish I was where this guy's at. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm just now 3.5, almost 4 years down the road of quitting drinking and quitting the bar industry, like, making the money I made in that industry, and just creating a new lifestyle, living a lot cheaper, being focused on races that don't cost a lot of money, and not doing a ton of them. And but I will say, the one thing that is great, that I do give myself props for and credit for, is like, I just don't really miss a lot of things that my daughter does, and I'm very active with her. And it's just very easy doing this now, as I invested the time. I was honest with myself, and I made changes, and those changes are starting to pay off, to where I am not someone dreading a 9 to 5 job, working weekends overtime, blah, blah, and missing my daughter's events, or not able to pick her up from school and stuff like that. And it's where it's like, yeah, I don't make a ton of money, but I make enough to where I sleep at night under a house with food in the fridge, and I pay my bills. And every job that I have, I fucking love. I can't wait to walk into it. But I will say, like, yeah, at the end of the day, like, how much do I enjoy myself? Do I like the person that I am? And that is something that is so hard to do. And the more I feel like I'm slacking on things, I have a small room in my house that has like everything that I've achieved since the day I quit drinking. And I watch YouTube videos of people doing Hyrox workouts and they're doing these times at races. And I'm just like, I know I'm not fit. I know I'm not fit. I'm like, dude, those guys did not do what you did in your 20s. And that was drank pretty much every day. And I ate like shit. And like a lot of these guys are like, they're top tier athletes. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not slightly on the back end of that. And I might be knocking on the door, but no one's going to answer it. But I need to get better at just respecting where I'm at, as that's how I coach my clients. I'm like, hey, man, stop comparing yourself to Cindy Lou in your age group that's been an elite athlete her whole life. Like, you just got into this. I understand that she's the same age as you, but like, you guys have total different backgrounds. And that's what I need to start telling myself is like, dude, if you don't enjoy this, stop doing this. And that's the thing is I do enjoy this. And I don't want to stop doing this. And I need to start remembering that these races are solely about the time that I run based on the times that I have ran, and be happy with the process, whether it goes good or not, and realizing it's an excuse to go travel. And that if I talk to myself when I was at the absolute worst part of my life with drinking, and be like, hey man, would you think you'd be running in the Hyrox Pro Wave in 2024, 3 years from now, 3.5 years from now? Like, absolutely not. I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't even know how to fathom how to get here. So again, just being honest. Be good to yourself. Reward yourself. Don't beat yourself up. And I can tell you, honesty and time, make those things your friend. We're going to call it there. Thanks for watching. You can comment down below if you have any questions on this topic, or you can message me if you know me personally. You can follow me on Instagram, Train Revive You. Send me a message there. If there's any topics that you'd like me to talk about, maybe I start doing that like once a month, where I talk about how I kind of got here and where I was, because I'm definitely not a pro sponsored athlete. I'm just someone that's just trying to grow myself and grow the people around me and help anyone I can in that process. So give me a like, comment, subscribe, all that shit. We'll see you in the next one.